Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And before I begin, I'd like to apologize for not having a video out yesterday. I'd like to thank American Airlines for getting me to Vancouver on time and then promptly leaving my luggage in Dallas. You had one job, guys. Now, moving on, let's talk about Facebook because I think this is actually a rather important topic that we need to discuss. Now, the Department of Justice in the United States has now officially asked Facebook to at least put a pause on its plans for end-to-end encryption across all of its messaging platforms and services. And I've got a lot of notes here on this, primarily coming from Engadget, but it's absolutely fascinating. Now, it's urging Facebook not to move forward, and I quote, without ensuring that there is no reduction to user safety. And we will talk about that very shortly. Now, Attorney General for the United States, William Barr, basically made this request in an open letter to Mark Zuckerberg on Friday. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleen, UK Home Secretary Priti Patel, and Australian Minister for Home Affairs Peter Dutton also signed this letter. So in other words, it's multinational between the United States, the UK, and Australia. Now, Barr and the other signees are concerned that end-to-end encryption will actually hinder law enforcement from tracking illegal activity that occurs within Facebook's various messaging platforms, including WhatsApp. This includes child exploitation, terrorism, election meddling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the New York Times, by virtue of this, in its explanation, explained that basically there was a reported 12 million incidents of child sexual abuse material on just Facebook Messenger alone last year. Now, this letter argues that Facebook should, and I quote, enable law enforcement to obtain lawful access to content in a readable and usable format, effectively basically providing the authorities with backdoor access into these to view your messages and pretty much anybody's message that they, I would assume, have suspicion for, although with Facebook's data mining, we know they can pretty much read everything anyway. It will ask Facebook to work with governments basically to ensure that this is the case. The Department of Justice will. But here's the thing, though, and let's dive into the nuts and bolts of this. I don't think anybody on the planet, if you are a sane human being and not a criminal, is fine with things like, child exploitation, terrorism, election meddling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem that we have, and let me dive into that one specifically as well, is that oftentimes what a society does is it creates laws to the lowest common denominator. Overwhelmingly, in most societies, everybody is law-abiding. I go about my day, I'm using Facebook Messenger, I'm probably messaging my friends and my family and all this kind of stuff, and I am not plotting terrorism or exploiting children or anything like that. And by virtue of that, I now have to have lowered and weakened encryption. I now have to have something that doesn't keep what is essentially and effectively private to myself as a law-abiding citizen and just individual on the planet. Now I'm inviting access into my life by using these things when we are being told that, oh, they are private, they are secure, they are encrypted and all of that. That, I think, has been perpetually an issue in most societies. And I don't necessarily know how we get around that, but when you basically are creating a law that essentially lowers the capability of a law-abiding citizen to combat that vast minority that really do need to be locked up, found, caught, or whatever, that's a very serious issue, and I think there's a discussion that needs to be had there as to what exactly we do with this. The other thing that we need to talk about, too, is that the whole world now knows that the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia combined are going to try to get Facebook to basically open up their messaging system, and have it read by the world. And if you're a terrorist, or you're an exploiter of children, or you're an election meddler, the first thing you're going to do is move to a different format, one that is, let's say, peer-to-peer, one that is encrypted, one that is private. I mean, this doesn't stop. It's a cat and mouse game. And so while Facebook may see a reduction of maybe 12 million attempts, at let's say child exploitation down to zero, I guarantee you those people aren't going away unless they're arrested, caught, and done something else. They're going to move to another platform just by virtue of the Department of Justice of the United States signaling that they want to monitor everything. They're gone. That's how this works. You're going to catch one or two stragglers, but what you're doing is you're just basically ruining it for billions of people that should have the right to enjoy privacy and security in their private lives. And I can also understand the whole thing with Facebook and data mining and all of that, but that's not my point. I mean, look at this, for example. My videos are on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and all of this on YouTube. One of my users came to me and said, I've moved to this platform called BitChute, where a lot of people are going, off of YouTube, and they're moving to BitChute. It's peer-to-peer, it's private, and it's 100%, open on free speech and stuff like that. And so I said, okay. I was able to link I create a BitChute account, and I was able to link it to my YouTube account, so I don't actually have to post anything. They just move right over. And so what ends up happening is you've got people that say, okay, I have a specific issue with this platform. Now I'm going to one that basically lets me do what I want to do. It's that kind of thing, and so that's what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? And I'm not sitting here recommending YouTube or BitChute or anything like that. It's just simply an example of people that are dissatisfied with the platform for some reason that just decide to go somewhere else or create their own or do something else. And by virtue of that, my message now spreads to another platform, to the 90 people probably that watch me there or less. But that's the point. I'm happy to help that user out because he is no longer on YouTube for whatever his reasons are, political or otherwise. So I think that's something that we really need to discuss because, quite frankly, they're just going to kill encryption. They're just going to kill our privacy even more, and it's not really going to stop this. It really isn't. They're going to move back to the dark web. They're going to move to peer-to-peer. They're going to move to other platforms and basically leave us with a fully unencrypted or fully privacy hindered messaging system that we use and enjoy. So take that for what it's worth. I think it's an important discussion, and a lot of people I don't think really realize that. They think, oh great, if we're going to just lower the encryption for everybody, well, I have nothing to hide, which is it's a logical fallacy in and of itself. But if I have nothing to hide, I can go ahead and open this up so that we can catch child traffickers and et cetera, et cetera. And the point is, no, you're really not. Because those are going to go down, they're going to move, and the people that you catch are going to be far and few in between. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. So take that for what it's worth. I understand the government needs to do something to stop criminals. I fully support, obviously, as I think most of the world does, finding and arresting these monsters. But again, this is not the way to go through with this. This is not the way to get this done. They're going to move, and that's what the internet's for. It really is. It's just way too confederated. So that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me on YouTube. And if you're listening to me or watching me, on BitChute, feel free to subscribe to me there because I'm pretty new to that platform as well. Don't know much about it, but I always welcome followers, in any way, shape, or form. So there you go. And stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.